Okay, Tim, you're good.
Perfect. Thank you, Becca. Welcome, everybody, to the June 3rd meeting of the Northborough Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Becca, do you have the governor's statement? Do we still
Yes.
need to make that?
Yeah, because we're still meeting remotely.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. This meeting will be live streamed, but will have no option for public participation. To view or listen only, please follow the link posted on our agenda on the Northborough website.
Thank you, Becca. Just a quick roll call so that make sure that everybody's connected, we can hear and you can be heard. Deidre Writing.
Present.
Virginia George.
Present.
Hamilton Soriano.
Present.
Becca Meekins.
Present.
And I am Tim Kalin. Thanks, everybody. It's good to see everybody. We are down a couple people. A couple people are traveling. One member just they have a new addition to their family, so congratulations, Chica. That's very exciting. So I'm sure she's pretty busy. But we make quorum. We got the 5 of us, so we'll proceed. The first item on the agenda tonight is just the approval of the May 6th meeting minutes. Anybody have anything to note from the minutes? Any additions or suggestions? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'd like to motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Deidre, second by Virginia. Roll call vote. Deidre Writing.
Aye.
Virginia Sims George.
Aye.
Hamilton Soriano.
Aye.
Becca Meekins.
Aye.
And I, Tim Kalin, also vote aye. Meeting minutes are approved. Next on the agenda, we have the Community Affairs Committee that is in tonight to talk with us about some of the things they're doing around town and some ideas they have, and hopefully we can share some ideas. So just want to welcome Pam Markey and Susie Sislicka from the Community Affairs Committee. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Welcome.
Very excited to be here.
Yes. Thanks for having us.
Are you really?
I love meetings. You know I love meetings.
I was hoping that you'd have an outfit on. You always have like you wear your yellow vest for traffic committees and your hard hat for
I know.
planning board meetings. And
I was going springy, very springy and summer for all of the pollen that is out there right now.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Well, thanks for being here. It's good to see you both. So we've been having members from different departments and different committees in over the last few months to talk with us about some diversity, equity, and inclusion ideas and goals for the upcoming year. And what we really want to do as a committee is to learn from you on ways that we can partner together to do some things. Like I really think that the Community Affairs Committee and the Diversity and Inclusion Committee can be really a great partnership in putting together things for the community. And then also to hear if you need any resources. So that way when main charge as a committee is to make a presentation in recommendations to the Board of Selectmen at the end of the year. So if there's resources that you guys need on your committee for diversity, equity, and inclusion activities, we can include those asks in with our recommendation to the board and make that ask for you. Does that make sense? Is that any questions?
No, I was excited that you guys were had reached out to us actually, because there has been a couple of things that have come up and I didn't know who to turn to or how to handle them, and how to incorporate them into our different activities that we have. And the group that we have right now, and I just became chair, and it started last year during COVID with our former chair, Lisa Hodge. We are trying new things. We're open to new activities. We did the, like even the pumpkin stroll, we did the light up the town, we did contests. We adapted the tree lighting ceremony that Tim was a part of, so that you're here, Tim, on my, my side for me. We're very open to ideas, and we are just excited to be here, basically. So I'll let you start with your questions, because I don't know if you have questions or if there's stuff that you want me to start with.
I don't think it's, I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know if any of the other committee members have questions. I think we've had discussions about some ideas to improve on the community's inclusion efforts. And a lot of them are, or I shouldn't say all of them, some of them are like event-based, community affairs type of things. Like, for example, it's Pride Month. So is there something that we can do as a community to celebrate Pride Month? One of the things we talked about is having something on Town Common, maybe a flag raising ceremony for the Pride flag. You guys have the background in this, so that's just an example of something that I can see our committee and your committee partnering together to put together and putting on for the community. Juneteenth is coming up. That's another event. Black History. Like, there's so many things
Right.
that I think would be really cool. I know you guys do a lot of stuff with small businesses. So is there something that we can do for minority and women-owned businesses in town? There's all those types of things which I think would be really cool.
Well,
Sorry,
oh.
go ahead, Liz.
I was just gonna let everybody know, because I know if you don't know what our committee does, it can get confusing because there's different committees that hold different events. So right now I'll start with the year, and we started out with Munchie Madness. We came up with that in March to help out small businesses or restaurants, food services, because we knew, it's not patio season. The numbers were still going up. We were waiting on the vaccine. We wanted to give these restaurants a boost, because we have so many of different ethnic foods and all different types, and they really, you don't have to travel far for Middle Eastern or Asian or high, like the best sushi. My friends in Boston come here for the sushi. So we did Munchie Madness. April is our annual town cleanup. Then we go into our concert season, which normally we have 5 concerts at Ellsworth McAfee Park, which is right behind me. And then we go into, Pam, you might need to help me with the next, I guess the next one would be our Jack-o'-lantern stroll.
Right. Well, yeah, this will be our first repeat.
Yep. So we just started that, and that takes place at the Town Common. Under COVID, we just had them lined up facing Main Street. We're envisioning having different businesses, different groups there with us in the Town Common, strolling through instead of just on the sidewalk. And then we go into our holiday season. So we did the Light Up the Town to give, people something to do. And it was a huge hit. And small businesses would donate small gifts to us. And we put together some beautiful baskets and we advertised a lot for them for the holiday season. And then we also do the tree lighting ceremony. So the first thing that comes to mind is the tree lighting ceremony. We've been approached before COVID about having a menorah. And then I worked on a local campaign with someone and we thought about having one of the love is, everything signs like some of the local towns do. And she said, maybe that's something you can incorporate with the menorah. We didn't know what to do. We handle the tree lighting ceremony with the trolley event, which didn't take place this year, but we're the culmination of the trolley event. And we have pizza given out and hot cocoa and it's all donated. And we have children's chorus there and families. I think there was, I want to say over 400 people the last time. I don't even know. It's grown a lot. So we didn't know who to go to. Who do we go to for a menorah? I mean, who do we fundraise? Do we go to the Board of Selectmen? Where would it be? The DPW has cleared out a lot of trees now in that area, but should this be something in the town common? So that's one hurdle that we would face. The annual town cleanup, I know we do try to get all ages involved, and we worked with the senior center this year so that they could get some of their members in the trails committee. The people that can't go down into the ditches and, aren't able to do that. And again, we wanted to have a whole little festival with the conservation committee there and the trails committee, and Tower Hill, I think was slated to come, and the garden club. So that's in the future now that we're able to all meet together again. We're really trying to collaborate. So I'm open for any ideas. If I missed anything, Pam,
No, I
let
think
me know.
you're right on. I think it would be a great idea as well to join forces and work together and come up with some new ideas.
Yeah, that would be great. Anybody have any questions?
Well,
I have a-
I actually,
Oh,
I
go
don't
ahead.
have any, I don't have any questions, but I do have some ideas and some suggestions. Years ago, the Community Affairs Committee actually got a cultural grant. And for Black History Month, we held programs at the library. We had a poet, we had a writer, we had many different things, and it was funded through a grant from the Cultural Center. I don't know if you would be interested in partnering with something like that for Black History Month, and certainly if you would expand the holidays, and you would also have something for Kwanzaa, which would be representative of people
Right.
of color.
Yes, we would love to do that.
Yeah.
We do work with the Cultural Council. I know in prior years, I don't know if someone knows this, but I know in prior years, the rule was you could apply for one event per year, and then the next year you had to apply for a different event. So we have rotated them for different events. This year we did not apply for one because we didn't know where we were going to be. So a lot of our events this year were pretty much during that grant application process. We're just
So we
anything
actually
online.
we use the cultural grants to pay for the concerts as well.
Yes, yes.
So, we could do that. And actually, you can even look at the bands instead to look at bringing some diversity with the bands. It would be also something to think about.
Yes, we have tried to look for all different types of music. One thing that we're trying to do, because our concerts this year are down to 3. So we went with the bands that have kind of been in touch with us over the whole year, asking if the concerts were going to be back on. We at Proctor School had an amazing band come called Crocodile River. They're an African drum group out of Worcester. I don't know. They were amazing. They did a Zoom program. My kids were up and dancing on Zoom. Like, they loved it. And we would really like to do some sort of event with them in September. I've been busy this week trying to get in touch with our sponsors and figure out about the handouts and, their kind of stuff this week, but that's something that we're hoping to do in September. We want to add a bonus concert now that things are looking so much better. At the time we were looking at, when we were planning the dates, it was August 1st was the open date, as Becca knows. I spoke with her. I was like, when we got it, that we were full open, I called her and I was like, we're open. We don't have to worry about this anymore. I was staying up late at night, like, how am I going to count the people coming into Ellsworth Park? I was going to need my traffic safety vest then, Tim. You would have seen me with the vest on then. But yes, I would love to do something. I've personally worked with the library on a couple different events, and I would love to work with them again, setting something up.
Good idea.
And the Kwanzaa idea too. I don't have a lot of knowledge about that, but I would love to know how to incorporate it.
Thanks, Virginia.
I have a
We
couple
actually
of,
did a program. I'm sorry, Dietrich, go ahead.
no, you're not done. So keep going.
No, I was just going to share with them. This goes back years ago, but the Community Affairs Committee tried to do a festival for the holidays, and we used the gym that's connected with Town Hall, and we had Kwanzaa, we had Christmas, we had different holidays around, like in a circle where we had representation from the different ethnic groups, and open it up, to the community, because there were some people who actually were really excited about that because they had children that they had adopted from other countries and they were thinking of going into Boston. So to think about, some kind of program where you would recognize some different cultures might be something that could be done, in the gym, maybe with the rec department and our committee, and it would be not as costly.
I wonder if there's a way, Susie, that we could connect that to the tree lighting, like around that, if
I
not
know.
this night, but coordinate that somehow.
Well, even if it was a stop on the trolley,
Yeah.
because we don't do anything all
Oh,
day.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We get to the Blake Street at like 4:00 for a 5:30 tree lighting, and we set up the tables, we organize the lighting, make sure that's all set up. But that's something we could do during the day, if it could be a stop on the trolley where people could stop and see
Right.
the holidays.
If we couldn't do it indoors and get the gym at the rec, we could see if we could use that space.
Hmm.
too.
Or even the town common,
Oh, yeah,
that
would be good. Yeah, that's good.
and then the
gym
parking would
give you
be
a little
rectified a
warmth
little
because
bit.
it gets cold. It'll be cold.
Yeah.
So going to the gym might be good as well to warm up before going to the tree lighting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Mm.
Nice. Lots of planning to do now. Ideas.
That's what we love to do. We love
Yes.
to plan.
Deidre, you had something?
Yes, I have a couple of logistical questions, but first, thank you so much for coming. Everything you do sounds really great. I hear mostly about your events through my children's school. So I have two kids in elementary school. So I'm curious about what other ways you advertise, and do you feel like you get the attendance that you're looking for? Have you done any analysis on the demographics of your attendance?
We're very Facebook heavy. We have a website. I've had a crash course in website design on Weebly. And we do all of the local publications. So the Gazette, the Community Advocate, Northborough, the Guide, Senior Center, all of the schools. Many of us are on PTOs as well. We have I think, 3 PTO board members on our community affairs committee too. So we kind of utilize that, and we really try to get the schools involved. Demographic wise, it's easiest at the concert to look around because you're on a flat space. But I will say during the tree lighting, you've never seen us move so fast. I bought us, kind of as a joke, dollar store elf hats during our last in-person tree lighting, and it was the only way we could find each other because there were so many people and we were all running around. So it is kind of hard sometimes to do that. And like the pumpkin, I mean, stuff like that was like entering in on a Google form for voting on who they wanted to win. I don't know, Pam, what do you think?
I would say the majority is social media,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Yeah, we have an Insta and a Twitter account too,
right.
but we're always looking for other publications. We have, I handle Facebook and the website. Rebecca handles all of our PR blasts. She knows when they have to be in by, and she handles that and who's going to be in it and listed. And we try to get someone at the community advocate to do stories on our events too.
Yeah.
And we've really been partnering with the senior center, which I can't say enough about too. So just trying to reach new people that way as well and help them out with, we helped them with their Valentine's Day event. That's what I was
Right.
going to say. We advertised a lot for them and they had a huge turnout. I feel like the jack-o'-lantern stroll, we were worried how we'll only do 50 pumpkins. We didn't know what the shelf was going to look like that the DPW was going to build. We work with them a lot. But you know, you can't meet with people. You can't go and see, you know, the shelf. So we limit it to 50 pumpkins, and I believe it was filled in 6 hours. And we didn't know if we were going to have 50. And kind of the same thing for the tree lighting, Munchie Madness. We had a wonderful, wonderful turnout. So we've been doing pretty good, I think, but I think we're always looking for room to improve as well and to get, you know, more of a diverse crowd. We love to include, you know, we love to have our crowds grow and get the word out and meet new people. That's, you know, what we're about, is bringing the community together.
Do you guys have a page, like a Facebook page or any social media?
We are starting a Facebook page
Okay.
relatively soon. There's a document that says how we're going to use it, but we haven't created it quite yet.
Okay. That'll be helpful, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have peer pressured other town groups and board of select people to share all of my stuff too. And I call into their meetings and remind them about stuff and events, just because I know it's the public record. And if they're sharing on their Facebook page, we have our friends that will text and say, can you share this now?
Right.
You have a sense of how someone, if they were new to the town, how they would go about plugging in to you? You advertise so broadly, but in a previous meeting, we talked about how, when you're new to the town, you're trying to figure out how to get plugged in. So you might not, you're probably not on the Facebook group yet and things like that. So do you have like something specific for new people?
We don't, and I would love, I actually thought about this, about a couple other committees that I was on, about looking for, new members and reaching out and working with real estate agents. And I know, like, when I moved here, it was my real estate agent who found, there's a Northborough Moms group that you have to find it. It was like on Yahoo then. It wasn't even on Facebook. You have to find it. You have to send an email here. And I was like, oh, okay. So, if we could be part, if there was a welcome package or a, like, welcome to Northborough, here are the things, that would be great.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we offer. Yeah.
I've
What a
been
great
involved in
realtor. That was awesome.
Oh, and it wasn't even, my realtor was out in Natick. Like, he was a friend of a friend, and we hired him because he guts houses for a living. Like my husband and I have no idea in construction, anything. So we'd have him go into a house and say, okay, it's going to cost this much to do this and this much to do this. So that's, how we found out, but, and I don't know where he heard. I know his sister used to live here, so could have even been from there. But if there was a welcome page, I mean, my favorite thing from being on the PTO is when I could participate in the kindergarten orientation and just give the speech myself and say, this is what the PTO does. This is how things are, laid out. And I do tell them about Community Affairs Committee as well, because I'm also on that committee, but I know that we have a lot of fun events for children. So I think reaching out to the real estate agents and just saying, could we do something like this? Or how do the new residents get like those coupon books too and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Could it be something like at the town hall that would, I don't know, that would have like a welcome packet or something to that?
I don't know.
We talked about putting something on the website, if we could develop like a brochure or something that had resources in it, and then just putting it on the website. Still in the very early stages of that, but yeah, that's an idea we had.
Like welcome.
I mean,
to
I didn't
town,
even know
here's
how
what
to
we
like,
have offer. Yeah.
yeah, like garbage was confusing to us. We're like, why didn't the garbage man take our garbage?
Yeah.
we didn't know about the green bags. Our real estate agent wasn't from here, so we had to go a week without our garbage being picked up.
Yeah, we've been here for 10 years, and I just recently stopped putting our garbage in our neighbor's can to make sure it got taken.
I had another question about your committee composition and how it works to actually become a member.
So we are a 9-person appointed team, and the Board of Selectmen interviews us, and I'm usually there. And then the interview committee selects the person, the candidate that will be on. I still tell people, and I know it's harder with Zoom, and I'm hoping in the fall when we're back in person that this will come more to fruition. If you want to be on the committee and you don't mind not voting on the minutes, the financial report, and closing the meeting, come to our meetings, because we would love to help. We love ideas.
Yeah.
I myself wasn't officially on the committee for about 3 months when I started coming. And just, planning and having ideas and extra hands on, like the annual town cleanup, for example, we did a drive-through. So we were each at different stations. One station's giving out the bags and the gloves and sunflower seeds. And another one, we were handing out donuts and Chick-fil-A biscuits and something else in little bags for people. And then another station had coffee and waters, so the cars could just drive through. And, we had kids helping us, our kids, because it was busy, so even though we're 9 members, I like to think that we're not limited to 9 members.
But each person holds a 3-year term, right,
Mhm.
Susie? 3-year term, and then you have the option to continue on or step down, and then in that case, a spot would open up, and then we would, take applications and go about it in that manner. But, yeah.
The other thing that occurred to me is, Virginia, those were really great ideas about, promoting diversity and inclusion. Have you already or had these discussions, and were there some ideas that you've either already implemented or are thinking about implementing to promote inclusion and belonging at your events?
Well, I will say, for the history of when I was on the committee for about 4 years, nothing changed. We just did the same events, and that was just kind of what we did. We started opening up when we eliminated movie night, because it's really expensive to play movies in public, even if you're a nonprofit. And we weren't getting the attendance, so we eliminated that. And we added another concert. I totally lost my train of thought.
I would
movie
also
night.
say,
The movie night threw me.
Well, the movie night, yes, started yeah, opening up the avenue for new events. But then I think COVID, like
Yeah.
we're trying to think of different ways and get more creative of, doing things with the community. And like, we just kept going with it and started adding events and yeah.
And when we were approached about the holiday thing, it was frustrating because I didn't know what to do. Like, we just didn't know what to do. I will say when we had Liz from the senior center come to one of our meetings, and one thing she discussed, but again, it's hard because we're on Zoom and we're attending each other's meetings on Zoom and everything. They were doing a Pride event. And that's what got me thinking, like, oh, why we should, like, we should be incorporating Pride. But that was like two weeks ago. We meet the third week of May. So it was a little late to plan something then. But yeah, I mean, I think COVID has taught us that we can plan a new event and have creative ideas and,
New things, yeah.
I just have, we got the Ally from the recreation waiting to come in after, so we just got to wrap this up in the next couple minutes. But thank you very much for coming in. On, one thing I would recommend that you guys do as a committee is, if you do, one of the things that we've been talking with everybody that we've met with is, how has your department and your committee been looking to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion within your department or your committee? And a lot of people have been making strides, have been making efforts. People have been hitting some similar roadblocks along the way. So we've got a very good understanding. I shouldn't say very good. We've got an understanding of some of the recommendations that we could make. And I would just hope that you guys on your committee would do the same thing when you're looking to add people to the committee, that you're doing all that you can to reach out to people who may not be on Northborough Moms, who for whatever reason just don't participate on that Facebook page all that much. Because I do think, one of the things that I've learned since I started working in this space is that when you get involved with people who have different backgrounds than you become much more aware of things that you just otherwise would miss, like holding something for Pride Month. It's just you don't hear from those people, so you just kind of miss it. So I think that's one of the benefits that we can have by all of us working together for the D&I committee and your committee, so that we can all brainstorm on some great ideas. And Susie, if your committee runs into a roadblock about how do we get this piece of equipment, how do we get this stuff, like, I have no issue, and we have access to Becca too, going right to the board and to John and saying, how do we do this? How do we, it's,
Yeah, we did approach the board, and it was like November or December when we were approached about it, and then COVID hit. So now, that's something I'd love to include for, this winter, basically.
Yeah. And the last question I have for you guys is, when do you guys start planning for 2022? When do you guys begin that process?
I would say it depends on the event.
Right.
Like the concerts, we usually start doing, like, by now,
Yeah.
we're already set. Like, I wouldn't be approaching the sponsors now, or we wouldn't, our bands and everything are usually booked by February. the idea that we were having like for a community like band, you know, to have Crocodile River come, that was something that we just kind of like threw around to each other. And when we were talking with Liz from the senior center, because they're thinking about having, I'm looking at my notes, kind of like a homecoming concert or something, or a homecoming event. And we were saying, well, we know a couple bands in town, you know, the all-inclusive high school chorus, that we wanted to feature. We didn't know how viable it would be because they're on the pavilion. So to have like two bands, one after the other, but we said we'd like to work with them on that. One thing I do want to say is like, I don't know if we can make a recommendation as a committee or as a committee chair, but I would love to see this committee continue after your year, and because I really think that our community needs it. And I would love to work together on events for 2022. I don't know when the end date is for the first year tenure, but I would love to recommend that this committee continues because I think it's needed.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank
And
you.
I would love to work with you on, you know, future events and have your input and everything else, and sharing, you know, our events, sharing ideas, recommendations, everything.
All right. Well, what we'll do is, what if we can, let's plan to meet again, maybe in September. That way we're a little bit closer to 2022.
Mhm.
And just share some ideas about some possible events for 2022, and if they fall under what you guys do, or if we need to look at other committees.
Right, because Black History Month, September would be a great time to start planning. I would think like for Pride, I would say probably like April. Doing a
But
new
if-
event usually
also-
takes us a little bit longer, but like March Madness, Munchie Madness will be much easier next year now that we
have
figured it out.
Susan, we should also put March as Women's Month.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
And we could do, I mean, you could easily do, you know, a program, a panel or speaker or something, you know, highlighting the accomplishments of women.
yes.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
idea.
yeah. So let's pick that up in September.
Great.
Are there
Awesome.
other committees that you already coordinate with?
So we've started like the senior center, the trails committee for their help on the annual town cleanup. Who else for the annual town cleanup? Senior center, conservation commission,
The Women's Club.
the women's club,
Yep.
the DPW always. I know they're not a committee,
Yeah.
but they're integral to everything I do. Everything. The police as well. I'm trying to think. I mean, we've started reaching out and really trying to collaborate. The one good thing about of Zoom meetings is being able to pop on a meeting.
Mhm.
I have 3 small kids, so it's easy to be like, oh, next week, yeah, I can pop on that meeting. So we have started reaching out to a lot of different committees and are always looking to collaborate because I love it. It's like, you know, it makes everything, all the events better, I think. The cultural commission too, or the cultural council, we've
Council.
spoken with them. hmm
Do you have all members, or are you short any members, or you're fully staffed now?
We are currently fully staffed,
Okay,
but as I said, anyone can come to a meeting.
heard you.
I'll
Got
take
it.
all, you just can't vote on the minutes or the financial statement.
Got it.
but- Yes,
Super.
just
Thank you.
send us an email.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for coming in. I very much appreciate it. I think we
Thank
all
you.
appreciate it. Thanks for all you do for the
Thank
town
you.
too.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
us.
All the events are excellent, and I think they're great for the community. So thanks for all your hard work.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Bye.
You too.
I got Ally coming in. Hey, Ally. Sorry for the delay.
Hi,
Hi, Ally. Sorry about that.
no worries.
How are you
Hey,
doing?
Ally.
I'm good. Hey, Virginia. Hi, guys. That's a whole bunch of
How you
people. here.
doing?
Yeah, we're actually missing a couple of people too. So
Well, thank you for having me.
yeah, thanks for coming in. And I very much appreciate you taking the time and being patient. Thanks for waiting.
No
Um,
problem.
So how have you been doing?
Busy,
Yeah.
which is great because last year I couldn't say the same thing. So things have been going really great here. We're full steam getting ready for summer. We're down to the wire less than a month before camp starts. So just getting things ready and, dealing with the CDC that keeps changing policies every other week. So it's just constant. As I was waiting for you guys, I'm writing up all new camp policies, even though we've already written them 4 times, they just keep changing. So it's just a constant rewrite. We're just trying to make sure that, parents aren't confused, staff isn't confused, and just trying to keep up with the times. But we are really looking forward to having camp this summer.
Yeah. I think everybody in town is looking forward to it.
Well, considering it filled in 6 minutes, I would say yes.
You know who's most excited about it? Parents.
Yes.
Parents are.
Well, I mean, their kids are going to be active for 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? Our kids have been sitting in front of a computer all day for, I can't tell you how, for a year and a half. So
Yeah.
I think they're just really excited to get them outside and get them active, get them playing with other kids, the socialization aspect of it. Because in school, they're still sitting really far apart. They're still wearing masks. You know what I mean? And they're not getting that chance to really socialize with their friends. So I think this is going to be a really good experience for everybody.
Yeah. So I guess, well, one of the things that we've been doing is talking with all the various departments and committees about diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts around, within various departments and committees. And one of the things that we want to do as a committee is learn from you if you need anything, if there's anything that we as a committee can do for you, if there's any recommendations, if there's any resources that you need that we can advocate for with the Board of Selectmen, so that you can be successful in any efforts that you're trying to make.
That's wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that. I mean, as far as, I'm just trying to think. I mean, we're in the process right now of, we have a lot of things up in the air, you know what I mean? So we're in the process of building a brand new accessible playground in the town of Northborough over by the Aspet Park, which is one of our really exciting features that's going to be coming up. So we're going to be breaking ground this summer. So we're really excited about that. We're also in the process of trying to make a accessible walking path around the senior center. I don't know if you guys have already talked to Liz, but again, I know I'm a big fan. I really, really appreciate and I really, really enjoy the seniors in town. I've gotten the pleasure of dealing and getting to meet so many of them through pickleball. They play in the town hall before this pandemic. Every day they'd be in here. I'm now consider myself close friends with a lot of the seniors in town. I spend a lot of time down at the senior center interacting with them. It's a population that I really enjoy working with. Liz is fantastic. I just would love to see that happen down there. So I know we're working really hard to get some accessible walking paths down there as well. I mean, as far as needing anything from you guys, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but I'm really happy to know that that's something that you're there for. I was aware of this group and I'm aware of what you guys are trying to do, but I wasn't aware that that was a part of your mission, was to help out, the department. So I'm really glad that you guys brought that forward, because I'm one of those people that is a long-term thinker. So I come up with these crazy ideas that sometimes take 1 to 6 years to come into fruition. So knowing that you're here to support some of these crazy ideas that I have that I think are brilliant, and sometimes the people upstairs kind of look at me and say, oh, it's going to cost a lot of money. But but it's nice to know that you guys are there to kind of back me up on some of this stuff because, you know, I consider myself a lifer here. I've been here, this is my 19th year. I love this community. I am here for everybody in this community. I know because of my title as recreation director, a lot of people think I'm here just for the kids, but I'm here to recreate everybody. You know, we just put in brand new lights at the middle school. So my goal is to get as many adults out playing sports at night as possible. I want to get people out. I want to get people active, and that includes kids, adults, seniors, everybody. That's what we're here for. So as far as accessibility, that is definitely one of our top priorities.
Ally, can you talk a little bit about just in terms of differently abled people and programs that you provide for people who maybe don't have the same abilities as most of us? I know you do have other programs that are geared towards that. Do you have ideas for more of them, different types of them? I don't know.
Absolutely. Actually, I think we are really proud of the fact that our rec department is open to everybody. So pre-pandemic, we ran multiple programs for kids with disabilities. Currently, we are still running our Challenger baseball program. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I highly suggest stopping down to see a practice or a game. We're behind the middle school every Tuesday from 6 to 7. We have over 30 kids with disabilities that come and play baseball. We have buddies from the town and surrounding communities that come and help them. We have coaches. I mean, it's just a fantastic experience. And there's 4 towns. There's Northborough, Westborough, Grafton, and Shrewsbury. So each town has their own team. And every Saturday from 10 to 11, we meet at one of the towns and we have a game. And it's incredible. I mean, these kids are participating in Little League just like their brothers and sisters, and they get the uniforms and everybody is there cheering on them. And it's hands down the most rewarding program that I have run in my career in recreation. And I've been in recreation since I was 13 years old. So it's just fantastic. We also do the Challenger basketball, Challenger soccer. Before pre-pandemic, we ran karate classes, martial art programs for kids with disabilities. We've done art programs. So we've really been expanding that. Currently, like I said, we're just doing baseball. We are half our numbers because unfortunately, these are the kids with the underlying issues that you keep hearing about with COVID concerns. So I think a lot of them aren't ready to start programming yet, but we were very excited to get the numbers that we got so far. And it's been a great program, but we are open to new ideas. I'll be honest with you, 50% of my programming is somebody calling me up and saying, hey, I do this and I teach this program, or I really want to help coach this. You know, what do you think? And then we'll create the program together. So I'm very open to ideas and what people have to offer. I'm not one of those people that sit in my office and think I know everything and I have all the answers. So I think the reason recreation in Northborough is so successful is because of how open we are to new ideas and in starting new programs. The other reason I think is that we open up our programs to all communities. So we don't say, you know, it's not just for Northborough residents. So that's one of the reasons I think our programming is so successful, is because we can fill it with everybody. If you look at other towns, they're canceling 50% of their programs because they're only taking in-town residents. So, you know, you sign up for a soccer program in Westborough, it doesn't fill, so they cancel it, and then they call me and sign up for the program through us. So it's, you know what I mean? I think that we are as successful as we are because we are open.
So
do you guys have any questions for me about any of those programs?
I have one more question, but I don't
Okay.
want to dominate this discussion.
Oh, sure.
This is the last thing I'll ask. Have you talked about at all doing an evaluation of all the parks and playgrounds in terms of access? I know the Assabet Park project got off the ground sort of around those issues, but have you given any consideration to taking a look at all of the locations and what would be needed to make them all accessible.
Yes, actually, the only other playground that we are responsible for in town is at Ellsworth McAfee. The rest are school playgrounds that I don't have any control over. So the two playgrounds that the town parks is responsible for are Aspet Park and Ellsworth McAfee. Ellsworth McAfee is relatively new, meaning that it was built when the ADA rules were out. So I do know that it is ADA accessible. We do, every year we do what we call playground checks. We go and see what needs to be maintained, what needs to be fixed. Is the opening big enough for wheelchairs? Is the surfacing correct? So we do checks there. But like I said, it's really just those two playgrounds. Assabet was really the one that we had to address. And I think what we came up with, our design is actually on our website and on our Facebook page. So everyone has access to see what we're going to be doing. But I think right now the one at Ellsworth McAfee it's definitely ADA acceptable, and we haven't had any concerns or complaints over there. So I'm pretty pleased with what we have down there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome, Deirdre. It's nice to see you.
You too. A few months ago, we met with Joseph Hyland from the YMCA, and he talked about the Y creating specific programming to teach children about like diversity, equity, inclusion issues and other specific things to promote diversity. I'm wondering if there's any talks in recreation of anything similar, or if that's anything even in your purview.
Well, that's a good question. I have not come upon any programming like that yet. What we do is we meet monthly, all the recreation directors in Central Mass. So there's about 25 of us, and we meet monthly, come up with programming ideas, throw things out at each other and try and see what was successful, what wasn't. I haven't heard anything from anybody about that, but that doesn't mean there isn't anything out there that we can't, find or put together ourselves. That's definitely something I could look into. And it's also something that we might be able to kind of incorporate into, say, like a camp. You know what I mean? It's kind of like school. We have an active audience. They're there. And the cool thing about camp is that the people that are talking to them are considered cool high school, college kids. You know what I mean? They're not your teachers. They're these fun kids that are going to throw a dodgeball at you, and then they can talk to you about something, and the kids really listen. I have two kids of my own that come home from sports camps and things like that. And all they talk about is what they talked about with their counselors. So one of the things that we do when we train our staff is talk about the impact that they have on these kids. So I think one of the main things that we could do is during our staff training is talk about things like that with the staff and how that they can get that information out to them in a successful, positive manner. And I think it helps that our staff is diverse, you know what I mean? So it's like, we hire kids, not just from Northborough, but from Shrewsbury. We have staff from Hopkinton. We have, you know what I mean? So it's not just Northborough, Algonquin kids. And we also have a lot of college kids that come and work. And you know how once you go to school and you come back, you kind of have a different way that you look at things. You know what I mean? You leave your little high school bubble, you go to college and you go, oh, I didn't know any of this existed. So they bring a lot of that knowledge in too. So I think that that's definitely something we could look into for future programming.
Right. And I think children are very receptive to it. I remember my children attended a camp, and I think the person running the camp, I'm forgetting what camp it was, but identified as trans. And, that spawned a conversation with me and my children. I wasn't prepared for it at the time because it was sort of like on the ride home, but I did view it as an opportunity to, help frame that conversation. And if you're, like you said, if your staff wasn't so diverse, that might not have come up. So
right. Well, it's funny that you say that because we had we had a counselor for one of our vendor programs. So it was a vet school program that we ran in 2019. And she was trans. And what she did is she sent out a letter to the parents ahead of time explaining what her situation was and how she wanted to be referred to, you know what I mean? The whole 9 yards. She really put it out in a letter. So I think that unlike you, the kid isn't coming home saying, hey, guess what happened? Or, you know, guess what I found out today? The
You know,
parent
there
was
might
able
have
to
been a
that
letter
conversation. Yeah.
that I missed. That happens more often than I would like to admit, but I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Because
it was good for us too, because we were able to address, you know, we're all about, you know, pre-planning and getting things out before, you know, we want to prepare but instead of react, you know what I mean? So it was really helpful, I think, for us, for the parents. And this woman was spectacular. She knew that a lot of people had never met anyone like her before, you know what I mean? And so I think she had taught in so many different communities and must have had certain reactions that, you know, she realized that it was much easier to kind of prepare the kids and the parents. And it was fantastic. We had a great week. The kids had a great time. The parents, no complaint, you know, nothing. So it was a really good way to handle the situation. And I thought that, you know, we loved her. We're like, come back, you're great, you know? So it was, like you said, it didn't take anybody by surprise. So I was very impressed with how professional she was about it.
do you deliberately recruit for diversity, or is that sort of serendipitous?
I wouldn't say I do anything deliberately. You know what I mean? What we do is we just send out emails and notifications, put it through Facebook that we're looking for staff. And whoever applies, you know, I'm literally getting a piece of paper that has your information, and it doesn't tell me anything about you, you know, personally. It just says, this is what I've done in the past for school. This is what I've done for work. And with us, we're very fortunate that our turnover rate is very low. So generally we only hire 4 or 5 kids a summer because everyone comes back year after year. We don't lose our staff until they tell me that they're getting a quote unquote real job out of college. So they stay with us for a long time. We treat our staff great. We pay very well. So our turnover rate is so small that generally I'm only hiring 4 kids, and we're looking for the best of the best. And and it reflects in the fact that our camp fills up in 6 minutes because our staff is amazing. I can tell you right now, it's not me. I'm not the one, you know, there with the kids every day. It's the staff that I hire, and they're so good. So to be honest with you, I don't know their race. I don't know any of that until they're already in the interview process. But it doesn't really have an effect on, you know, whether or not I hire someone or not hire someone. It really comes down to their experience with the kids. Same with when I'm hiring vendors. So when I'm hiring a science group to come in and run a science program, I don't know who their instructors are until the program starts, and I have to query them and go through all of that stuff. So the vendors hire their instructors, and I hire the vendor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Does your staff receive the staff that you hire, not necessarily the vendors, but do they receive any diversity training?
They have not in the past, no. Like I said, after talking to you earlier, I think that's definitely something that we can incorporate. Again, over the past 2 years, I think diversity has been in the news. It's been brought up, you know what I mean? So when you have towns like Northborough, and you know what I mean, where it hasn't been a big open talk, you know what I'm saying? I think now that we're bringing this stuff forward and it is all over the news and it's all over the schools and the teachers are talking about it in the classrooms, I don't think it would be abnormal if something like that came up in a training. You know what I mean? If we talked about it in a training for the staff. We have a diverse camper group. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, our counselors aren't super diverse. They are Some years they're not. You know what I mean? This year's a little more diverse than it has been in the past. But the campers are always very diverse. We have all sorts of different nationality kids coming to the program. So there's certainly no harm in discussing it at one of the trainings and how to be, sensitive about that. But again, we've never had any issues of any kind of bullying or, you know what I mean, any anti against one group or another. And again, I think it all comes down to the staff. You know what I mean? It's never been something that we've addressed because it's never come out as a negative experience. Parents are very vocal when their kids have a negative experience. And I am lucky enough to say that parents are very vocal with me about what a positive experience their kids have. And that's what makes me love my job, is because I think I'm the only person that sits in this town hall that gets a phone call just to compliment something that I've done. You can't say that for the DPW or the treasurer or so I feel very fortunate. And I think that's what makes me love coming to work every day is that, I got an email the other day about how much their child loves horseback riding program that we're running, and they just can't stop talking about it. And of course the parent says, thank you very much, but now this is going to cost me a fortune because horseback riding is so expensive. But, I love that kind of feedback. And I think with the camp, the kids are getting used to having more diverse kids in the schools, and, Northborough's getting more diverse as from the 19 years ago that I was here and from 30 years ago when my husband went to Algonquin, you know what I mean? It's definitely getting more diverse. And I think that that's opening dialogue for the kids and the staff.
If you did feel that diversity training for the staff was needed, and you needed some sort of additional resource for that, that is something that we could advocate for with the Board of Selectmen with our recommendations, because it falls in line with the feedback that we've gotten from other departments and other committees is that they're everybody's open and wants to embrace the diversity that has been taken root in the community, and how can we all do a better job.
Okay.
So if that's,
Well, I would certainly reach out to my counterparts that, that do what I do in recreation and see, we don't like to reinvent the wheel if somebody's already done that. So I would certainly reach out to them and see if there is anybody that incorporates that already. Take a look at what they do. If there's literally nothing out there and I'm starting from scratch, again, I don't mind doing that. And that's when I would reach out to you guys and ask for some advice. But I would certainly, if I do find something, I would love to run it by you, maybe email you guys, get some thoughts and feedback on it before we do the training and just kind of see what your thoughts are. I will definitely check in with you and let you guys know what I find.
Yeah, that would
that's
be
okay
great.
with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions?
And I do have to say that Virginia's son was on our top 5 counselor list of being one of the coolest counselors we have ever had. And that was so far back when I first started. I don't even know how old he is now, Virginia, but I know that he, the kids were so fascinated by his hair. It was probably like, how high was it, Virginia? It was so high. And they thought
high. And he is tall.
He is tall, exactly. And he was with the younger kids, and they were just like, I can't even tell you, they would just stare at him and be like, whoa. And thought he was like a magical creature. And he was so fabulous with them. And we adored him. He was one of our top 5 counselors.
Thank you for that.
Tell him I said so and we miss him.
I will do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Well, Allie, thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
And again, it's, we're here if there's anything that we can do for you, And like you said, you get calls from parents thanking you for the work that you do. I know my kids have been through programs through the rec department and had an absolutely positive experience. And you are a wonderful resource for the community. And I thank you for all that you do for everybody in town. So thank you very much.
Oh, that was nice, Tim. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Take
guys.
care.
I'll, like I
Yeah.
said, I'll follow up with anything that I find through email, okay?
All right, perfect.
All
Good
right.
luck with Cam.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna need it.
Bye now.
Thanks,
Bye,
Ally.
guys.
Good
All
night.
right, thanks, Ally. You know, it's funny. It's just a kind of on a personal note. You talk to all these people that devote so much time and energy into their careers here in town, and I talk to these people, and it like I'm speechless in a way. Like I'm just amazed at how much effort and how good they are at what they do. Like, and it's not just like one or two people. It seems like it's a common theme with everybody that we've talked to is just how good they are at what they do. And it's just nice to hear that.
Yeah, it was really refreshing to hear how passionate she is about her work.
Yeah.
I like
But I
that a
think
lot.
that I've heard that from just about everybody that we've talked to too. It's not, you expect to hear from somebody like, like I'm just so beaten up by and I haven't got that impression from anybody that we've talked to. So that's really nice to see. All right. So next on the agenda is to review the letter that the committee is going to send into the board. Becca, do you want to take this?
Yeah, so I drafted this letter after our last meeting where we talked about the board's sort of request around the membership of the committee, and we had sort of come to an agreement about how, we're 6 months into the process and we're halfway there and we've done all this work and we finally got the train moving, and it doesn't really make sense to change up the makeup of the committee before we make our recommendations to the board. So that's kind of like that's the meat of the letter. So, I'm open to changes, edits, if folks want to add stuff, take stuff out. I tried to keep it fairly short. I don't think I think that we need to say too much. I think it gets the point across, but I'm open to feedback.
I just had one suggestion.
Mhm.
In the 1, 2, 3, the fourth sentence, it says the selectman has turned over. I wouldn't use turned over. I may, say, understand the Board of Selectmen has transitioned or something different, but not turned over.
Okay, hold on. The members understand that how about I just say the membership of the board has changed?
Yes,
Okay.
very simple.
Yep.
I thought the letter was good. I didn't have any suggestions.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I almost wanted to say more, but I think less is more would be better, and I think that if there's an opportunity, if you're able to speak, that there's some things that maybe you may want to say that, because I think my whole point is that I think what I was hearing, it was that they thought that we may not be comfortable coming before the Board of Selectmen. And I just want to emphasize that we have, all of you, you have some very outspoken professional people who are able to present in front and present a lot, Deidre and your work, Hamilton, I know people are busy and doing things. So it's not like people are not comfortable, So if you have a chance, if there's dialogue, I just think that needs to come out.
Yeah, no, I understand. And we haven't talked about the joint meeting yet. I don't know, Tim, if you've talked to Jason at all about if it's going to be just the chair that they're having in, or if they want to have, if it's going to be the full membership at the July meeting.
I think it's gonna, do you have any idea that it's too much off topic? I think it depends on how the meeting's gonna be held. If it's in person versus Zoom, I don't know what July meetings are gonna look like.
Good point.
But I would like to have the invitation for whomever from the D&I committee wants to join, can join.
Yeah.
I will absolutely, like as the chair, I will absolutely be there. But if any of the other committee members want to join and speak and, cover some of the topics on the agenda that we're going to present to them, then I absolutely think that should be necessary or should be allowed. So that's and I think if I talk with Jason about that, as long as there's some structure to it, I think he'll be fine with it.
Yeah, I guess that was a long way of me getting to the thought that this committee is going to have the opportunity to interact with the board. I don't necessarily think that this topic needs to come up, nor do I really think it should. I think the letter probably stands on its own, and I'm thinking this will, it'll go to the board and we'll have a quick dialogue about it at their next meeting. And then we as a group can just continue moving forward on our work. And this can be in the past. If everyone's good with it, what? Go ahead.
One question. I thought there was something that indicated that you were on the committee as well. Did I miss that?
Yeah, I didn't put that in the letter. I think I tried to get it across when I said the committee is confident in Tim's ability to lead the group through this endeavor and provide direction and to communicate when needed to the Board of Selectmen and to town staff. I mean, I can add something about me being at both meetings, but I can also say that at the meeting, when we talk about it at the board's meeting.
Well, I don't know. I will ask Hamilton or Deidre what you think, because you are a member and you're at every meeting and you also attend the selectmen's meeting. So I think for me, we have two representatives, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Are we asking if we want more representation or?
No, I mean, we have, I think with Becca and Tim, we have representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
both.
With them being exposed to both those sides of the boards, it's just, I think that's enough, right? Yeah, I think we're good on that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think we need to add it to the letter, Virginia. I think my being there and saying so hopefully is enough to get that point across. So if this is good, I'll make that one change, and then the board, it'll go to the board for their June 14th meeting. Sound good?
Good luck. Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So, Tim, if I thought we got a lot of good information tonight from both of the presenters, and I think there's some activities or some trainings and some involvement definitely needed on our part.
Yes, I agree with that. I think it's I think a partnership or working closely together with the Community Affairs Committee will be beneficial to the community. And then It'll be interesting to see what Ally finds from her professional network, to see what sort of training they get in, or what training information she can find. And then, when she comes back to us with that, to see what next steps are going to be there. I do think meeting with the Community Affairs Committee again in September, just so everybody on our side knows that we are going to do that. And I think really at that meeting, just share ideas about events for the entirety of 2022. A lot of things that we've already talked about, but at least put them on the Community Affairs Committee's radar. Did I lose you?
Yeah.
I'm still there. I
Yeah.
see you.
I'm
You got
sorry.
it,
yeah.
My screen went blank. So that they have those ideas on their agenda for the following year.
I'd like to say one thing is just from meeting everyone that we've met in these meetings, the one overarching theme that I've seen is recruitment. And that may be the one thing that's at the top of our list as a recommendation is how do we recruit a diverse pool of candidates in all of these committees, right? That seems to be the overarching theme. And I'm thinking like that's where we have to really focus, at least for our top recommendation to the Board of Selectmen.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody have any other business that they wanted to discuss tonight?
I don't know if this is business per se. I don't think it'll take us down a rabbit hole, but I did have the thought that one group that we haven't engaged is like churches. And I know that's a big center for community. And I know that we have a lot of meetings scheduled and that we probably might be tapped out in terms of time to do that. But if we're keeping a running list of people to talk to, that might be a really good group.
Yeah, I agree with that. Becca, I can't remember if,
Oh, no.
Or even other schools, because we've talked to the school district for public schools, but we have a Catholic school in town.
yeah,
and
I think
an independent school.
with private institutions, there's not a whole lot that we can do. Because they're their own entity, at least if they're associated with the town, if there's resources or recommendations or, policy related items that we want to recommend, we can do that. Whereas with a private institution, we don't have any authority anyway, but I'm
Got
you know
it.
what I mean? Like the difference between like a private organization and a town related organization is just different.
But more like in the same vein, not necessarily mandating anything, but we had also talked about, talking to businesses. Just
I got you.
just like getting a fuller picture of the town and some of these things that we've been talking about, hiring and things like that. Like, what is the landscape? Not necessarily you must comply with.
Yes, no, I got you. I misunderstood you. Yeah, I do think that would be important to do, but maybe not until after we get through the recommendations to the board, get through this first step first, and then look to that maybe next year.
So Tim, another thought in thinking along the lines that Deidre just mentioned, that maybe what we could also do is open ourselves up to if there are other people in town or that have been watching us, and if they want to say something, share something with us, that maybe one meeting we can have, could we not have an open session for like 15 or 20 minutes to get feedback or comments from the community?
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Have a public hearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Open our meeting up for like 15 minutes for a public hearing, and if there's more, we could always expand it.
It'd be like
Yeah.
a listening session, that kind of thing.
Yes, we would only listen.
We can do that. I don't know when. We'll have to. The schedule's getting very tight.
Right.
So we can,
Yeah.
like we're booked for July. So we're booked for July, and we're tentatively booked for August. There's a question mark about who we want to bring in. And then we had talked about after August, sort of wrapping up the joint meetings so that we could focus in those last final months on really like perfecting and tightening up our recommendations. So, we just have to decide, do we still want to follow that path, or do we want to change it up a little bit?
Just a thought, we could think, we don't have to make a decision on that.
I
But we could-
can add it to the agenda for our next meeting, which is like a business meeting, and hopefully we'll have
Okay.
the full group, and we can talk about if we want to carve out one of our sessions to do like a public comment kind of thing.
Yeah.
I also wasn't able to attend last time, so I'm wondering if you talked about a plan for who's going to report out next time. Or
So I had sort of planned to talk about the strategic plan. You're talking about to our group, right, at the next meeting? Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk, and I'll probably connect with Mary Leach a little bit, and we'll talk about, hopefully have some draft scopes for the group to look at and decide what, what options we want to present to the board, if there are some things that are, absolute must-haves that we feel like have to be included, and what's the dollar sign that's associated with that. So I'm planning to do like outline some of that stuff for the group on the no, not the 14th, the 17th.
So Becca, who's on the training and development committee? I know I am, but I can't remember who else is on it.
It's you, Hamilton? Are you on that group?
I don't think so, no. Because I don't remember hearing about it, yeah. I mean, I could be Virginia if you'd like to have me.
Virginia, I can help you with that.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah, I mean, I
think
could be there
there's
too. I mean, I'm completely fine with
I
joining
think
it.
there are two committees. I think I'm on both of them. One is training and development, and one is on hiring, staffing. But I'm not sure who I'm working with.
I think we
So-
kind of grouped those together. I thought we merged those, like training and recruitment.
Okay,
Uh,
so
I have-
it's Tim?
I have the list. I don't have it here though. It's at my office. So I'll look at it
Okay.
tomorrow and send out an email.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
you guys can do the July presentation. I'm just messing with you.
Hey,
I'd like to encourage everybody to say hi, Liz. Thank you for your note, Liz. She's
Hi,
watching.
Liz.
She's awesome.
The only other thing that I had, and not to have a deep discussion about it, it is Pride Month, and did we want to do anything to recognize Pride Month? I didn't know if a statement was appropriate. Like, I just didn't know what would be appropriate for us to do. If anything were needed.
Well,
What's giving me
I think-
pause? Oh, go ahead, Virginia. Sorry.
go ahead, Deidre.
No, earlier, I forget who made the comment, but there was a suggestion that that stuff need to be planned in April. And so I was like, oh, what can we do? Like, because I don't know what the, what are all the hoops? So maybe all we can do is make a statement but maybe there are other things. So I guess, who do we talk to about what's even possible or?
So the thing that's done the most that I've seen is a flag raising ceremony. That's like what most cities and towns do in honor of Pride Month. And then they have an event around it. So they do like a flag raising ceremony on like a weekend. And then they have like a Pride event, and they have food trucks and live music, So I think that's sort of the thing that the CAC is talking about. That would be the thing that would need to be planned. Like in April, you'd need to get vendors together. You'd need to advertise, get sponsors, which I totally think we should try to encourage them to do next year. I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
I don't know that we could, I think maybe we could get a flag raised. And I think that's that would be like if all the stars aligned, because I don't even think the town owns a flag right now. And that would be something the board would have to approve, the raising of the flag. And they have one meeting in June, and it is June 14th. So it would mean this group making a recommendation to them at that meeting, which is that's pretty quick
Yeah.
turnaround. So I would say this year, if we felt really inclined to do something, we could do a statement about, the history of Pride, where it comes from, what it's really celebrating, Stonewall, all that stuff.
That was going to be my suggestion. I think we need to be a little way out, it's June, it's Pride Month, and I don't think we can do much more than put out a statement and recognizing, and I support what you're saying, Becca, and maybe think ahead for the next one so that we can do, if we wanted to do more.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, in addition to Hamilton's point earlier about recruitment, I think that's going to be another big piece of our recommendations. Is these are the things that as a community we should be incorporating into our events and recognitions over the course of the year for 2022 and going forward. To Becca's point, there's to have the meeting on June 14th, and then for the Board of Selectmen to turn around and have something done before the end of the month is probably not possible. So, okay. So we should put together a statement. I could put together some notes on that over between now and over the weekend and get something out to the group on Monday, Tuesday next week. And then just incorporate feedback and then take it from there. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will motion to adjourn.
A second.
So motion to adjourn by Hamilton, seconded by Virginia. Roll call vote. Deidre Writing.
Aye. Is that what I'm supposed to say right now?
Just make a noise, any
Or
noise.
Deidre, right, here present, yeah, all of that.
Yeah, whatever. Yes, no, sometimes, maybe. I don't know.
Right now.
Virginia Sim George,
Yes.
Hamilton Soriano,
Aye.
Becca Meekins,
Aye.
and I, Tim Kalin, also vote aye. We are adjourned for this evening. Thank you very much, everybody. It was good seeing everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.